everybody, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ready to Die Fighting. I'm Chris behind the camera here. Hello, how you doing? And today I am going to go through what I keep in my car as far as tools go, in case there is some sort of breakdown or emergency and I need to get myself back on the road. Now this could be just like on a regular Tuesday, you have a flat tire, or maybe you realize you left your lights on and the battery dies, or you're something funky's happening and you can't drive for right now. It could also be a SHTF type of scenario. Additionally, for me, I don't have a garage. All my tools and everything are all in the basement, and so when I work on my car, which I do, I'll do things like change out brake pads and oil changes, various fluid changes. When I do those things, I really don't want to be going up and down the basement stairs a bunch of times for various tools, so I like to just keep them all in the car. So for those reasons, I have a backpack. It's just a regular, like, kid's backpack. This is actually Nate's old school backpack. And just keep the stuff in there, in the trunk, and that way I have it for whatever the reason. You know, it's not good. This stuff's not going to help you change out your transmission or anything like that. But flat tires, dead batteries, little loose bolts and screws, something weird kind of happening, blown fuses, this will get you driving again. All right, like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of stuff and the content I make. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. That's a milestone that I'm very excited to reach. So help me do that. And if you have already subscribed, thank you. Let's get to this. In no particular order. I guess kind of sort of order. First thing I'm going to talk about is gloves. These are just some sort of plastic or rubber. I'm not sure. It says it's latex-free, single-use, whatever. And what I like about these is that this might not be, maybe not, but they have like some texture on them. I guess that's a different glove. This says it's got texture on it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's my other gloves. I had some gloves that had some texture. It was like a little knobbiness on the fingertips that just kind of made it a little bit nicer. I thought it had that. Yeah, it says it's got texture grip, but whatever. I don't feel it. At any rate, some sort of gloves where you can keep your hands clean and keep, there are some nasty chemicals and fluids in cars. And if you're in your car, there's a good chance that you're going someplace and maybe you want to look nice. You don't want to show up with grubby, greasy hands. Or at the very least, you probably don't have running water in your car and aren't going to be able to wash them. So it's just nice to have that. Additionally, knee pads. Oh, knee pads. I once had to change a flat tire on the side of the road. It was like 11 o'clock at night. It was snowing. It was freezing cold. It wasn't even like snowing at the time, but snow was on the ground. And so it had been salted and it was like melty. It was horrible and it was so cold. And getting my legs wet because I was like kneeling and squatting on the ground trying to change his tire out was miserable. So lesson learned. You're already doing something that you don't want to do. You're someplace you don't want to be. Make it as easy on yourself as possible and get yourself some knee pads. These weren't expensive. I think I've only used them maybe once perhaps, but it's just going to keep you warmer, keep you drier. Concrete is not comfortable to kneel on. Just make that experience not suck so bad. All right. So then, what else do we keep in here? Duct tape. Duct tape fixes all sorts of things. If, say you get into a little bit of a fender bender and maybe part of your, the plastic or something is coming off or a part of your light is falling out or any sort of weird thing is happening, duct tape is going to be your friend. It's not a long-term solution, but we're talking about get home in one piece. Electrical tape, very useful for any cables, wires, that may be frayed or cut or whatever, and you need to put them back together. This is going to do the job. I do recommend the Scotch 3M brand. as opposed to others. I've used quite a few different types of electrical tape, and I have a strong preference. I feel like this just works better. Like, it's easier to tear. It's a little bit more sticky. It conforms to the shape of the wires a little bit nicer. So I won't buy anything else. Duct tape, I don't really have a strong preference. It all seems to work. I typically do buy the Gorilla, but not always. I haven't really had an issue with duct tape not working. Okay. There's that. And so now, and this may be overkill for a lot of things, but like I said, I also use this when I am making repairs on the car at home. I like having this with me because you just never know what sort of weird things are going to happen. And so these are just some tools that I find that I use. And for all the repairs that I've done, I don't really think I've needed much else. A screwdriver. This is a 5-in-1. So you've got the Phillips and the flathead. You can just turn it around if need be, like that. And then you can also flip this around and get a smaller version of the Phillips and flathead. So that's pretty nice. And then it's 5-in-1 because this is, or is it 6-in-1? Yeah, 5-in-1. So you get, you can also use that as like a nut driver. I'm not sure what size. Actually, it looks like these are 2 different sizes, aren't they? So I guess maybe it's a 6-in-1. You got 2 different sizes. So screwdrivers are going to be immensely helpful in a car to get things, to get access to things most often. Having a stubby screwdriver, I find, is immensely useful because cars have so many tight spaces. Like when you're working on things in your house or on a bike, you usually have pretty easy access to things for the most part, I've experienced. You got space to move around. But in a car, there's a lot of places where it's difficult to reach and difficult to access, or maybe you can get your hand in there, but this isn't going to fit. So having a stumpy little screwdriver like this is very helpful to me. I just have the Phillips. I've never really needed a flathead, I don't think. Not for this type of situation, so the Phillips just does fine. Adjustable wrench is great just because, you know, you can do so much with it. So this is always a nice tool to have, and they're fairly inexpensive and very versatile. I would say a crescent wrench could also be a good choice to have, like an adjustable, like kind of the crescent wrench that you, kind of like a plier type of deal, but it's bigger, big mouth. Most of the stuff in a car is going to be socket. So I have a metric set, and most of the things that are connected, that's what you're going to need. And so having something like this is probably going to be good enough. Now, as I said, a lot of things in your car are going to be hard to reach. So maybe you need something really stumpy like that. But very often you might need more space to get to it, like it's down or under and up someplace weird. And so I bought this set. I think I was changing out the spark plugs, and I think I needed like this super long one, but it came as a 3 set, so that's nice to have. Just to make things easier to reach. And additionally, or similarly, I have this, which, let's see if we put that on here. And so now maybe you can reach, but it's at a weird angle or something like that. And so now you can do this type of deal. How do you? Oh, it was in the middle, it wasn't turning. So yeah, so you can do this type of deal and just kind of get to where you need to get to make things work. So having that, I think, is all the stuff. Very useful for working on pretty much all of the car, all the various areas. I find that I use these tools over and over and over and over again. Might need some specialty things here and there, but for general work, that's what you need. And this was just like the locking lug nuts or whatever. I don't even know if they're still on my car because I think it's kind of dumb. They're stock wheels. Who's gonna steal stock wheels? I live in a crap neighborhood. They haven't stolen my stock rims. Seems excessive. Let's see, what else do we have here? So now, of the things that you're most likely going to encounter, in my opinion, and what I've personally have most commonly encountered, has been flat tire. So I keep an air compressor. This was only, I want to say, $25 on Amazon. It connects to your cigarette lighter, and you screw it on, and bada boom, bada bing, you have filled up your tire, and you can hopefully get back on the road. Let's say if it's a slow leak, or if you have a plug, or maybe what happens a lot is maybe you have a spare, but the spare has no air in it. But maybe it's not damaged at all. You just like your donut, just, after years of sitting in your trunk, it's flat. And so this could be the thing that really helps you out. And you know what? I actually don't have one, I realized. I thought I did, but they make plugs. So if you've got a hole in your tire and perhaps you have the time and energy and means, you can, and depending on what type of damage it is, you can plug the tire and then you can fill back up. And so I'm definitely going to pick one of those up. I thought I did already. I really did think I had one, but I don't see it here as I'm going through all this stuff. So maybe I gave it away, or maybe there was a hole in my backpack. I was actually using this backpack, and so I'm actually swapping things out right now. It's got a tear in it, so perhaps I did have one and it fell out. I don't know. All right. What else do we have? Some motor oil. So every time that I change out the oil in the car, I always make sure I have an extra one of these guys. So I don't even open it, keep it nice and sealed so I don't have to worry about it spilling or anything, making a huge mess, because that has happened to me before. Ugh, that was a mess. But in case you get a leak, it does happen, or you find that your car's burning oil, especially after a long road trip. You check your oil levels, you notice that it's low. Have some of this, you can top off. And then, of course, when you get to back home or whatever, when you can, get it checked out, because clearly something's happening. You're not supposed to be losing oil, certainly not at a quick rate. Fuses are nice to have. Generally speaking, if you're popping a fuse, then something's wrong. And changing the fuse, it may fix the problem. I mean, it'll get you back going, get things working, but there's probably something has happened, and so you may need to check things out. You may find that you replace the fuse and it immediately blows again. Something's going on, so you may need additional repairs. But having a fuse puller, some spare fuses, knowing where your fuse box is, and having a little diagram that shows you which fuse does what, all very useful to have and could potentially get you out of a pinch. See. And then jumper cables. So this I've got a whole video on where I use this to start up my car, and unfortunately they no longer make the specific model, it seems, but this is just a power bank. It holds this charge. I mean, I leave this in the car and with the heat and the cold and all that, and it keeps this charge for months on end. A year or more. It's got a light. It can charge your cell phone. It can jumpstart your car. It's very easy to do. Only takes seconds. It comes with recharging cables, so you can recharge this. But I also throw in charging cables for my cell phone and devices, so that in case I need to charge them in an emergency as well, I'm sure that I have some cables for it. You can recharge the device itself with your cigarette lighter. Don't do that with your dead battery, but like before the battery dies, you can do that. And you just connect everything to the battery, push a couple of buttons, bada boom, bada bing, and you are jumped, ready to go. This thing, I have used it multiple times, and it has worked every single time with no issues, and I love it. It has earned a permanent place in my emergency kit. Get one of these bad boys. If not this exact same one, something like it. And there's a bunch of companies that make them now. This one's made by Anchor, which I've bought several chargers from them. I like them in general as a company. They also make flashlights. I had a flashlight I really liked, and then it just stopped working inexplicably. I couldn't fix it, couldn't get it to work. Of course, it was outside of the return period, so whatever. It was disappointing. But their chargers, I've had excellent luck with. And as good as that thing works, I like to have a backup of the old-fashioned way. So just your regular jumper cables. Just because electronics are finicky, and, I guess mechanical, traditional things are more reliable. And EMP's not going to knock this out. Is some kind of, if this one gets wet or something, maybe it stops working. That's not going to be the case here. This stuff just kind of works. And so I like this because it comes with all the stickers on here and directions. So just leave that on there, because there's a certain order you're supposed to do it in, and it tells you. So you can just look right on here. Step 1. Connect this to the dead battery, the positive, the red side. Step 2, connect this one to the good battery. Step 3, connect this one to the good battery. And then step 4, connect this to the dead battery. And then you also got it written out in here in Spanish and English. So, makes it very easy to do. Yeah, you're stuck out at some place in the middle of the night, some creepy dude comes along, and you do need your car jumped, so you don't have to worry about, are you doing it right or whatever. And then a flashlight, just to make it so that you can see. Sometimes this stuff's happening at night. Even if it's not at night, sometimes it's just, if you're underneath a car or underneath the dash or whatever, a lot of times it's dark. So there we go. I think that's it. You also want to have a bag to put all this stuff in, or case of some sort. But that's basically it. You want some basic tools. You want jumper cable. You, of course, want to have your... you're going to need a spare tire and the jack and everything for that. But I don't keep that in this bag. I just keep that in the trunk. So that's nothing additional I really add. It comes with the car. But here's your basic stuff that you want to have in your car, and you should be able to do just about any roadside realistic repair that you need to do. I like to have a couple extra bulbs as well, just anything that I buy that, battery protector grease, anything like that that's going to help keep you going in an emergency. Or if you want to come out, if you have a friend who maybe they are in a rough spot, they're stuck on the side of the road, you can help them out too. And then they owe you, right? Cash in that favor later on at a opportune time for you. All right, hopefully this was helpful to you and enjoyed it. Hopefully you will never need this information and you won't be stuck on the side of the road anywhere. But we prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And that's the best that you can do, right? Like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.